In the midst of sparkling stage lights and the never-ending cheers of millions of fans, one sentence from Jungkook suddenly shook the virtual universe. Not about the new song, nor about its growing global record achievement since its debut with BTS, but rather a code that many consider to be a serious signal about the current state of the K-pop industry. The question is, what exactly does Jungkook mean? Is this just a personal reflection of an artist? Or is it a silent alarm about something bigger? It all started with a seemingly simple moment. In a live broadcast watched by millions of fans from around the world, Jungkook spoke in a calm tone, but there was a different vibe in his choice of words. He did not name anyone, did not point the finger at any agency, nor did he offer frontal criticism. But his lines about pressures that are not always visible and expectations that sometimes feel too heavy to bear alone immediately sparked widespread speculation that in the K-pop industry, every word of a world-class idol has a much heavier weight than just ordinary conversation. Jungkook is no longer just a magne who is known to be shy and talented. She is a global symbol, representing a generation of idols who grew up under a strict training system and relentless expectations. When he talks about pressure, the public can't just ignore him. Some fans considered it an honest phrase about mental health. They recalled how in recent years the issues of fatigue, burnout, and depression among idols have been in the spotlight. Tight schedules, non-stop training, 24-hour camera highlights, to an almost impossible standard of perfection, they are all part of the daily lives of K-pop stars. In that context, Jungkook's code sounds like a very human confession. But some see it further. They interpreted the statement as a subtle allusion to an industrial system that often demands more than it seems on the surface. The K-pop industry is known for its strict management, long-term contracts, and highly detailed image control. Idols are not only required to sing and dance perfectly, but also maintain behavior, speech, and even facial expressions in public spaces. At the slightest mistake, a storm of criticism can come mercilessly. Jungkook grew up in that system from a young age. She joined the agency in her teens, going through a tough trainee period before finally debuting and achieving global success. He witnessed the transformation of K-pop from a regional industry into a worldwide phenomenon. He also witnessed how pressures that once might have only been felt domestically are now multiplying due to the international spotlight. Every step is analyzed, every upload is interpreted, every silence is questioned. When he mentioned that not everything can be discussed freely, many were silent. Is it just a general statement about the life of a public figure? Or is there a deeper reality of invisible boundaries? In the era of social media, idols are closer to their fans. They can broadcast live, share stories, even joke spontaneously. But behind that closeness, there remains a line that should not be crossed. Industry analysts see Jungkook's statement as a reflection of the new phase of K-pop. The current idol generation is no longer completely passive. They have a global voice, influence, and platform. When one of the most influential figures talks about pressure and limits, it can be a mirror to a system that has been running for decades. Perhaps this is not a rebellion, but rather an invitation to take a more honest look at the industry. On the other hand, there are also concerns that the public is too quick to conclude. Jungkook is known as a sensitive and reflective person. She often talks about self-growth, gratitude, and her internal struggle to be the best version of herself. It could be that the code is just part of his maturation process, not structural criticism. But that is precisely where the drama lies. One simple sentence can have such a deep layer of meaning. The K-pop industry is at a crossroads. On the one hand, it is a gigantic entertainment machine with a tested system of producing global stars. On the other hand, more and more voices are calling for a balance between the artist's success and well-being. Cases of extreme fatigue, sudden hiatus, until the recognition of mental distress make the public more sensitive to this issue. When Jungkook spoke, it was as if he represented a generation that grew up in the glitter and shadow of the industry. What makes this situation even more dramatic is the fact that Jungkook is at the peak of his career. He has a freedom that many other idols may not have. If someone in his position still feels heavy pressure, what about those who do not yet have as much bargaining power as him? The questions hung in the air, provoking lengthy discussions on online forums and social media. But behind all the speculation, there is one thing that is indisputable. The courage to speak out, even if vague, is still a step. Jungkook didn't scream. It does not accuse. It only hints that there is another side of the world that looks perfect on the screen. And perhaps, precisely because it is delivered calmly, the message feels stronger. In the end, perhaps we will never fully know what Jungkook meant. The entertainment industry has always had layers that are not completely open to the public. But one thing is certain. His statements have opened up an important space for discussion. About the boundary between professionalism and humanity. About ambition and mental health. About the glitter of the stage and the silence of private space. In the midst of the cheering that never goes out, the soft voice of an idol can be a long echo. And when Jungkook gives a code about the condition of the K-pop industry, he is not only speaking as a star, but as a human being living in it. Perhaps that is the essence of it all, that behind any large system, there remains an individual with a heart that can be tired, a mind that can be burdened, and the courage to at least hint that not all that glitters is without a shadow. The echoes of the statement apparently did not stop on one night of the live broadcast. In a matter of hours, snippets of the video and multi-language subtitles spread quickly on social media. The brief footage was played over and over again, analyzed from the intonation of his voice, from the way his eyes looked down just before speaking, to the pauses in breathing that felt longer than usual. The world, accustomed to seeing Jungkook as a confident figure on stage, now sees another side, calmer, deeper, and perhaps more fragile. Some fans tried to calm the situation. They wrote that Jungkook was just sharing his feelings like a normal human being, that not all expressions should be translated as criticism or danger signals. But at the same time, discussions about the condition of the K-pop industry are heating up again. BTS's name was mentioned, not because of controversy, but because of their long journey, which is often used as an example of how hard the road to the top is. BTS once openly talked about pressure, about difficult times before and after global success. They do not cover up that popularity brings new, much more complex burdens. And Jungkook, who grew up with the group as a teenager, certainly absorbed all of those dynamics. He not only witnessed the transformation of the industry, but also became part of the change itself. Some say that the current generation of idols lives in paradox. On the one hand, they have tremendous global access. Their songs can occupy international charts. Their faces are plastered on billboards of major cities of the world. But on the other hand, personal space is narrowing. Technology makes everything closer, but also more vulnerable. Every move can be recorded. Every mistake can go viral in seconds. When Jungkook talks about hope that feels heavy, many feel it's not just about him. It was a collective reflection. Idols not only carry the expectations of companies or markets, but also millions of fans who put love, hope, and even identity in their figures. Hope is beautiful, but it can also be depressing. Being perfect is no longer an option, but an unwritten obligation. Some entertainment experts in South Korea even judge that Jungkook's statement marks a new phase of maturity in the industry. In the past, idol rarely talked about pressure openly. The image of strong and cheerful is almost always maintained. Now, the new generation is more daring to show the human side. Not to invite sympathy, but to recognize that success is not always synonymous with flawless happiness. But the real drama is not only in what is said, but in the reaction that comes after. Some are worried, afraid if the statement portends something more serious. Some are angry, feeling the industry is too demanding. And there are also those who are proud, seeing Jungkook's courage as a form of moral responsibility towards his fellow professionals.